Hey there guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 11. We are available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with iTunes, Spotify, and many more. Today we will be diving into some of the lighter news topics, and then we will talk about our recent activities, then the FaZe versus Tfue situation, and then lastly, the ProJared update. So, first up is that under a new bill, pay-to-win microtransactions/loot boxes will be banned to minors. So I think that this was a thing that was going to happen eventually, but now a senator is actually trying to push this law into order just because he realizes on how dangerous, loot boxes are and, gambling in general to a younger audiences, which I definitely agree. I'm just wondering on how much this will impact, the youth and the gaming community as a whole.
Yeah, I also think it's a great idea, but also wait, so when you buy a thing, do you just enter your age? Because I feel like if you just enter your age, you can just easily lie about that, and it's bypass and buy loot boxes anyway. I'm not really sure how they're gonna enforce this really, but obviously I'm all for it because I think loot boxes themselves are kind of just a bad idea, and they're just having them have minors just be able to buy them, and they don't really understand how they're manipulating you to buy more and more so you get that legendary or whatever. It's really bad. So this is a great first push here, but I just don't know how they're really going to enforce it,
Yeah, I definitely think that they're going to target the game developers first, put them in a situation where it's all right, you need to make sure that this doesn't get out of hand sort of thing.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, it's definitely going to be very interesting on how they enforce it, because it's back in the day when we would go to GameStop and then they would actually start reading the stuff on the back if it was M17 or whatever to your parents, and me, I was oh shit, but it was just blood and stuff as long as there's no boobs or whatever. But yeah, this is definitely very interesting. I'm pretty sure this is still within early development, so we're definitely going to keep a track of this. But yeah, it's definitely going to be, like I said, very interesting as to how this develops and progresses. Yep.
All right, so next, Disney assumes full control of Hulu in a deal with Comcast. So now Disney just owns everything. They're starting to get there. So obviously now they just control all of Hulu. So I guess basically any shows that aren't going to be on the Disney app, you might just watch here now. Because Hulu does have has a lot of shows, more than Netflix does now. Netflix has a lot of original things, but I think Hulu is better for just watching a lot of old things now. But yeah, now Disney just has full control over it, which is really big.
Yeah, definitely a big move by them. I'm wondering how long it'll take before Disney owns 49% or some shit of everything.
Yeah, it's getting to a point where it's kind of worrying. It's starting to become a little bit of a monopoly here.
Yeah.
But I mean, as Disney has been it's not they haven't been producing quality stuff. They've been taking care of all the properties they own and stuff like that. So I don't really have a problem with them owning Hulu, but it's still kind of worrying that they could just mess up, and a lot of things will also get just messed up. So hopefully nothing bad happens there. But yeah, there you go. They now have full control over Hulu.
Yeah, definitely a interesting power move by them, because they're gonna have their own streaming service later this year. So by that time they'll have 2 streaming services under their control.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we talked about this previously, but the Genesis Classic is definitely a console that'll come out soon, and they revealed more games, and the games that they revealed are pretty good. So Mega Man: The Wily Wars, Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition, Sonic Spinball, Phantasy Star 4, Beyond Oasis, Ghouls and Ghosts, Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, Golden Axe, Vector Man, and the Wonder Boy in Monster World. So the one that really stuck out to me the most was Mega Man: The Wily Wars. My bad. Just because that game was an exclusive on a streaming service back in the day, so now we're actually getting it on this mini console is very cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, because before you had to subscribe to this weird Sega thing and then get it from that, and it was it wasn't too common to play it officially or legally anyway. So now that it kind of reminds me of when they released the Star Fox 2 for the Super NES. It's cool to have that, not exclusive in this case because this game came out, but not a lot of people played it, but it is cool to have it available for basically anyone that buys this thing. So I also think the game selection is pretty good. You know, like Vector Man and Golden Axe and things like that, and you know, Sonic Spinball. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. This Genesis Classic. So it might be worth the money if you're interested or you had more nostalgia for Sega than Nintendo. So
yeah, and like even like the other games that they announced previously, like they have both of the Mickey Mouse games on here. They have Contra Hard Corps. They have the first Earthworm Jim. So, and obviously, pretty sure all of the Sonic games are going to be on here, like no brainer sort of thing. So, yeah, this is definitely looking like it's going to be a very worthwhile mini classic console. It's coming out September 19th later this year. So when that drops, hopefully there's actually enough supply to meet that demand.
Yep. I mean, hopefully Sega's better than that than Nintendo. Yeah, they're pretty bad with that. Speaking of Nintendo, though, we got a Super Mario Maker 2 Direct where they like show a bunch of features. It was like pretty meaty. It was like 20 minutes or something, or 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 17
minutes. So basically, go over a bunch of features. You know, obviously slopes are like in the game now. Like more enemies. You could like change the water levels. You could like have custom scrolling. Like it was just a bunch of new features they added. Some of the bigger ones were like the 3D World game style. Where you know you can use Cat Mario and basically almost everything from 3D World. So you have like the clear pipes, and you have the those bonus room blocks when you like jump into it. You go to like a new area, so that's also cool. The only disappointing thing is like this acts as like its own thing. So if you're making a level and you're like, oh, I want Cat Mario in this like a Mario 3 level, you can't do that. It's gonna like wipe your progress to make like a 3D World level. So some people are kind of concerned. It's like, why would I use the other game styles if this one just has a bunch of new stuff that the other ones don't? But I don't know. I guess we'll see. But the 3D World game style looks really cool. Some of the other cool things they added were there's like multiplayer. Like you could play levels together, like either competitively or like versus each other. And I think that's super cool. I think that's a really great feature, and it kind of works like the new Super Mario games, I guess, where you know you just all play together and you can like screw each other up and stuff like that. So that's gonna lead to like a lot of fun shenanigans and stuff.
Yep.
And basically they still have all the same online modes, so you can still play like the endless challenge where you know you just go through a bunch of levels and stuff like that, and you have a set number of lives, and stuff like that. You can also like download levels and things. So if you like a level, you could download it and play it offline and stuff. So they just added a bunch of crazy content. Like it's actually like insane how much stuff they're adding.
My thing that I definitely took away from this direct is that they added a lot of customization and a lot of freedom to the player when it comes to like being creative, which is very good. And you know, obviously the first Mario Maker was already fleshed out as is, but they just, you know, added more stuff and made it even more customizable. So I really do like that, and I'm very interested to see exactly how players take advantage of it. Because for me myself, like, I'm not that creative of a mind, I would think, so I'm probably just gonna, you know, jump in and try to play some crazy levels.
Right. And if you're not creative either, they also have like a new story mode, which is gonna have like 100 levels also. So that alone is probably also worth it, because you know that's just like that's a lot of Mario levels. So yeah, even if you're not a creative type, I think just like playing the story mode and playing what people have made is probably gonna be worth the $60 anyway. So yeah, and I mean I'm big on creative games. You know, I'm gonna talk about Dreams later, but I also really like Little Big Planet and things like that. So these type of games always interest me. So I'm really excited for it to come out.
Very, very cool. Then just released today, they are delaying the Sonic movie to February 2020. I think that this is very good of them, just because they are pretty much redoing the entire Sonic model. So maybe other things of the movie will get changed too, because it doesn't look so hot, you know, so far. So,
you know, even though I think the movie's still gonna be bad, no matter how you change Sonic. I think it's really cool for them to really delay it, like, as you know, like as far back as they are, to really make Sonic look good. Again, I don't think the movie's gonna be any better because of it, but I think really making Sonic look good is gonna be a good change, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And it kind of shows, it shows that they were listening to feedback and things like that, because it was a pretty negative reception when he was revealed. So
He's definitely not a good one.
No.
All right, so let's jump into recent activities. I guess I'll jump in first.
Go ahead.
So League of Legends, obviously. I've actually been climbing a lot. I did a coaching session with Low Pally. He's a challenger support player, and I asked about a coaching session like last month, and he finally did it. So I watched it. It was like 50 minutes long. So I was like, damn, I must have like really like messed up on some things, which I did, obviously. But yeah, I learned a lot from that, and I've been playing a lot of ranked. They actually fixed the LP gains. I don't know if I mentioned this like 2 episodes ago or whatever, but now I gain like 17 and minus 13. Obviously, like the net gains like 3-4 points, but I think that's enough for me to like actually like try to climb, because when I'm just win lose, like I'm just going nowhere. So, but now with my new sort of like MMR changed up, and I actually can climb a little bit. I got to master promos, and then I went 0-3,
Whoa.
unfortunately.
Oh.
But and then I went on like a decent losing streak, but I went to work, cleared my head, came back last night and played a couple games. I'm at like 60 LP or something like that now, so I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, definitely losing does not help my mood whatsoever, because I went to work, I was just like, I really just want to die and like play League, but I'm glad I went to work, because that just helped me clear my head, reset my mental sort of thing. So, but I went to go see Detective Pikachu. That is a very fun movie. I'm not going to say it's like great or anything like that, but like as a video game fan and as a Pokemon fan, I think that this is, a pretty good video game movie for what it is. It's not going to blow your mind or anything, but you will definitely have a good time and have fun with it if you like Pokemon or even like video games in general, because I think my brother liked it, and he doesn't even really play Pokemon.
Right.
And
yeah,
then
I wasn't able to watch it. Unfortunately, I might watch it next week, but not too sure yet.
Yeah, you could definitely like wait on it.
Yeah.
It's not something you have to like go out and see in theaters, but this one, if you like really good rom-coms, you should definitely see Long Shot. This one has Seth Rogen in it, so you already know that it's gonna be a good time. Very funny. Yeah. It's actually really like well written in terms of like the jokes and everything like that. I really did like on how Long Shot did its rom-com sort of thing. Then of course John Wick 3 came out recently, and that was just as much fun as the other 2 movies were. Definitely better than the second one, I feel, because I feel like this third one has a lot more purpose. I think the second one was kind of just like there to be there kind of thing. Right. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I've watched those 2 first movies, but John Wick 3 just feels like it has more purpose and much more of like a story going on there, so really did like it. And then of course I saw Avengers Endgame for the 5th time. I'm probably not going to see it again, just because I've seen it 5 times in theaters, and seeing the movie play out again and again for like 3 hours, it only is so much fun for so long sort of thing. So, but still enjoyed myself watching it.
That's crazy, dude. That is way too much. Like, I like Endgame a lot, but I don't think it's as rewatchable as Infinity War, for me at least. I find Infinity War way more watchable, like in multiple runs, because it's like way more action. Mm-hmm. I feel like Endgame is a lot more slow and stuff, because it's the ending.
And yeah, like definitely that. Because the beginning part, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is so slow.
Exactly. So like, yeah, I like Endgame is a movie I'll probably watch like again later, but Infinity War I probably watch like 4 times or every. Like I love Infinity War just to rewatch it, because it's just constant action. So.
Yeah, it's constantly moving. So
yeah. All right, so for me, as you can see, I've been playing a lot of Pokemon just because everyone's been talking about Pokemon. So I'm like, I feel like playing Pokemon. So obviously, I think 2 podcasts ago, I was talking about how I was playing Omega Ruby. Mm-hmm. So I finished that, and it's extremely good. It's a fantastic remake of Hoenn, which is like the first region, or I guess first generation of Pokemon I ever played. And I suggest if anyone's never played like Hoenn or Emerald or anything like that, I would suggest just getting Omega Ruby or Sapphire, since it really does keep the spirit of the original game, and like it doesn't really change too many things besides like add Mega Evolution, things like that from Gen 6. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you never played Hoenn before, I think this is a great like place to start here. It's not too difficult. The game is a little easier than OG like Gen 3, because Pokemon just keeps getting easier and easier as you go on. But it's still a fantastic remake. I think they did a good job at like fleshing out a lot more of the like Team Magma and Aqua and things like that. They gave like the legendaries like more epic feelings and things like that, obviously, because it's in 3D and stuff. They do stuff like that. Also like the post game like epilogue, the Delta episode that deals with like Deoxys and Rayquaza. that's really cool. They did like a whole new story beats and things like that, and it was super fun to play through, and I liked it a lot. The music is also fantastic. You didn't have like the Hoenn horns where like every song is like just trumpets. Like they really did a good job remixing all the music, and it was a fantastic game. I kind of feel bad for like neglecting it for so long just because I hated X and Y. I'm like, oh, this is just Gen 6 again. I'm not gonna like this. But no, it is very much worth it, and if you could pick it up, I would suggest it if you never played Hoenn, or even if you didn't. I think it's a good time to revisit it because I haven't played like Emerald in like a few years. So. Next up, I'm playing through Pokemon White 2 right now, since that's also a game I haven't played in a very long time. Since it like came out, I played Black and White 1 a couple of times already, but White 2 I haven't played too much. I mean, I would say it's the better Black and White just because there's like so much content in it, and I feel like the major issue with Black and White is it's fun to play through Black and White, but it's not too much post game content. This game is a bunch of post game content that I also didn't really do when it came out. There's like the whole Pokemon World Championship and things like that, where you can fight all the other NPCs from all the other games. So you can fight like the gym leaders from Gen 1, 2, 3, all the way up to Gen 5, and also like the Elite Four members from all the other past games and the champions from the past games. So there's a bunch of things to do that I just didn't do. So I'm just going through a new game right now and going through it, and it's a great time. I love it. Because if you weren't a fan of Black and White because they didn't have any old Pokemon, you can only use the new Pokemon they gave you. Which that wasn't a problem for me since I like using new Pokemon, but Black and White 2 offers you a bunch of new ones, or I guess a bunch of old ones to use. So if you have a few favorites that weren't in Black and White, then this game will probably be better for you since you could like really make your team a lot different because there's a bunch of different Pokemon in it. Then there's another game I neglected. I'm just going back and playing a bunch of Pokemon games I neglected because I guess I just didn't play them. Pokemon Conquest. So basically, this is also a Gen 5 spinoff. This is basically Fire Emblem and Pokemon together, and I liked it when I first bought it, but I didn't really play too much of it because I didn't really get it. I wasn't much of a Fire Emblem guy at this point, until Awakening and Fates and Shadows of Valencia came out, where I'm like, I really like tactical RPGs. Same thing with XCOM and things like that. So I went back to play this game, and yeah, it's extremely good. It's literally just Pokemon Fire Emblem. It has all the, instead of like having the weapon like triangle, obviously it uses the type effectiveness and like resistances that Pokemon uses, and you obviously have Pokemon and things like that. So your units would be like consist of a trainer and a Pokemon, and the trainer could like enhance the Pokemon with some like active buff that you could use once per battle. And then obviously the Pokemon could use, their different moves and things like that you would expect. Basically, it's really fun. It's pretty short. It was only like 10 hours for the main campaign. But it's like this giant post-game where there's like a bunch of different stories and things like that. I haven't really delved too deep into that. But there's easily like a bunch more content that I haven't done. But yeah, it is very, very good. I hope they make a second one at some point. But this game came out a while ago. It was like 2012 when Black and White 2 came out. But yeah, it's extremely good. If you really like Fire Emblem and like Pokemon, then I would suggest the game. This is really fun. And then next is not Pokemon, it's Dreams. So Dreams came out like quite a while ago. I bought it like 2 weeks after the early access launch came out. So the way they're doing this is weird, right? So Dreams has been in development for like quite a while, like since the PS4 was announced. And it's made by the same people who made Little Big Planet. So this was a game I was pretty hyped for a while, but I wasn't too sure what they were doing here for like their release schedule, which is why I got it pretty late. So basically what they're doing is the game is half off, and if you buy it now, you won't get the campaign. Well, the campaign isn't available yet. Like right now you get basically the other part of the game, which is creating stuff and playing stuff, which is like basically what you're going to be doing for most of the game anyway. And you get it half off, and then when the campaign comes out later, and basically means like the full game's going to launch, you get that campaign for free. So basically you're paying $30 now, and that's it. Like you don't have to pay the extra $30 for the story mode, which is like really nice. So I'm like, okay, I'll just buy the game now then. And right now I think there's enough content to justify $30 anyway, because this is basically the main bulk of the game, right? It's creating and sharing stuff. So Dreams is basically just Little Big Planet on crack. It's basically like, if you ever use any game engine like Unity or things like that, it's basically that, but on a PS4, which might sound a little like weird because it is. You basically are just making your own game, right? You can just make whatever you want. Like it's not limited to a 2D side scroller like Little Big Planet was, where if you want to make like a first person shooter or like a RTS or whatever, like you had to work really hard on Little Big Planet to like sort of break the system or break the game to make it like work that way. With this game, it's a lot easier to like make things the way you want just because of how much freedom you have. But it could also lead to it being very complicated and stuff like that. Like it's hard to like really recommend this game to someone that doesn't want to make their own stuff, because I feel like that's the main point of the game. Like playing the games themselves, it's fun to play other people's creations, but you could tell like it's very like, you know, it could be very janky sometimes. So same thing with like Little Big Planet or Mario Maker, where you play like a level and it sucks. This is like you could just have a character that sucks because they have to make their own character and like everything, like physics and things like that. You know, it's not like Mario or with Sackboy, whatever, we have their own physics and things like that. So like you don't really have to worry about that. It's just level design. With this, it's like you have to make everything, and it could be very overwhelming to like most people. I find it like tutorials explain things pretty well. You know, there's obviously a lot of things that you have to learn for yourself. And probably my biggest complaint of the game right now, there's two things. When you know Reddit, where you could sort by top of all time and then like new, but usually it defaults to hot, so things that are trending, and then you can see whatever is new every day. This game doesn't have that. It just has a top of all time and new, so it's really hard to see like quality content from like sort of like a hot filter or like a trending filter, because it doesn't have that. A bunch of people very complain about that because you know, that is a huge issue. You know, that could turn off a lot of people from making anything, because you know, you can't like see what's trending or what's happening. You can only see like the new stuff or the things that you've already seen a billion times because it's on the top of all time. So they're already addressing that. And another big issue is the controls, because trying to like sculpt like a whole 3D model with a DualShock 4 is pretty painful. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know, having a mouse and keyboard or having a move controller is like, you know, that's probably what they had in mind anyway. But they already are addressing that issue because the way you're supposed to do it is like by tilting your DualShock 4 and things like that with the the gyros and things like that, and that could lead to a lot of issues where you're like making something and just something happens and like that's not what I wanted, because the motion control messed me up. So they're already addressing that with like analog stick support at some point. So they really are listening to feedback, and basically I think Dreams is great. I think it's gonna I think you should just wait until the game comes out to like fully play it or watch some videos about how, you know, the creation stuff works and how that all works. Like it's a hard game to judge right now, but I'll probably be playing it for the next like few months and like letting you know how well everything's turning out, because you know right now there's a lot of cool things being made, but you know, it's still like a very much a work in progress. So yeah, there you go.
I would assume that they like released it at this state because they were like, all right, we already have like the base game finished. We just need to get the story mode out. So like to fund the story mode, we'll just release the game now and then just like use that money we get now and just do the other part.
Yeah, and again, I think the game is pretty much worth the $30 right now, since you're gonna get the story mode for free. But if you want to wait until more good creations are made, then that's also totally fair. They have like no release date right now, so I have no idea when the story mode is coming out. But right now, I say if you're interested, then I'll just say buy it right now, because I think it's worth it. And I think that's it.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, let's get into some drama. So we're going to talk about the FaZe versus Tfue thing. Damian doesn't know anything about it, so I'm going to like stop at certain points and like ask like what does he think so far. So I'm just going to run through some points real quick. So it first broke out on the Hollywood Reporter that Tfue was suing FaZe over oppressive contract. And at first I was like, that is really interesting, because, you know, FaZe is a very well-known esports organization. Like whether you know esports or not, like FaZe is very well known in like the gaming space, I would think. And then, you know, it was like a very oppressive contract. There's like, you know, very high splits and this and that, and I was just like, oh, okay, you know, FaZe takes like 80%, Tfue gets like 20, and I'm like, what the heck?
All right.
Yeah, so like definitely not a good contract, and I have no idea why he signed it. And yeah, he did like a full lawsuit against FaZe and everything like that, so pretty much lawyered up and, you know, sued them. So FaZe's response, obviously through Twitter, because, you know, Twitter is everything these days. They were shocked and disappointed with Tfue's, you know, press article and lawsuit, but they said that they took zero from prize winnings, 0 from Twitch revenue, 0 from YouTube, and 0 from anything else. They've only taken $60,000 in their partnership with Tfue, and that is from sponsorships that they brought to him. So, it was 80% to the player, 20% to FaZe. So those were some pretty beefy sponsorships. If it's only 20% and, to FaZe and they got $60,000, that is definitely a lot of money that Tfue got. Right. And then Banks, who is the COO of FaZe, he pretty much did like a whole it's like a 21-minute video of him like reacting, pretty much like raw emotions as he calls it. And I kind of wanted to believe him, because I'm like, despite all of the shit that he's done in the past, I could definitely tell within the video that he really cared about Tfue and he really wanted to, nurture him and, bring him into FaZe as like a friend, but also, as a business partner. And the fact that Tfue did this to him, it kind of shows within the video that he is, really hurt by it. So, and then the former CEO of CLG reacted to it in like a Twitch highlight sort of video. There were other like Twitch clips of him like reacting to Banks's video, which is hilarious. He like pretty much like roast Banks, and he's pretty much on the side of Tfue because he thinks that FaZe pretty much did all this stuff, which we'll get into that part later. But I mean, like so far, Damian, like what do you think about this whole situation?
So I'll probably like right now, without knowing anything else, I'll probably put more like of my trust to Tfue, to the player, because it wouldn't surprise me if a contract is over oppressive like this. I don't know too much about like esports like players and contracts and all that stuff like that. But if I had to like pick a side, I'd probably be with Tfue at this point, just because.
Do you even like know Tfue outside of this?
No, like.
Okay.
But like I just as like a player to like just a company like this, I probably like expect the company to like maybe take a little more than they should. Like even without knowing the player and things like that, like I'll probably just believe in that part a little more. But that's just like how I would see it. Like yeah.
Okay. And then Tfue, I believe it was like 2 days after the whole thing like broke out, he finally makes a 2-minute YouTube video. He responds and he's pretty much released the contract. And yeah, Banks was like, what's it called? He tried multiple times to like renegotiate that initial contract after Tfue blew up, because before he joined FaZe, the context is that he was pretty much like a much smaller streamer, but after he joined FaZe, he pretty much blew up, which is kind of what happens when people join FaZe. They become very well known and they become very popular. But it's also the fact that Tfue is very good at Fortnite. Like I watch his stream sometimes and he's like very, very good at the game. And he like qualified for like the World Cup or something like that, and he streamed everything, no delay or anything like that. So yeah, he is definitely very, very good at the game. But Banks is pretty much saying that they have tried to renegotiate the contract, try to, give him 0 or 0% to FaZe and everything to him, and like 1 million per year, and many, many different contracts, which we have yet to see from FaZe themselves. But Banks is saying that we tried to work with Tfue, but he just refused to. And then what's the second tweet that I attached? And pretty much new agreements with the contract, trying to break away from that old one, which is obviously very, very terrible, which they do not deny that at all. Like Banks even, tweets out, and he probably shouldn't have been tweeting out. Actually, he deleted these tweets. He deleted one of the tweets, but he pretty much said that the contract initially is really, really bad, and there was some really, really terrible people in our company, and we shouldn't have make them sign that contract. But the contract leaked, and pretty much the deleted tweet that I have here is pretty much him admitting that the contract was really, really bad, which I think some lawyer on his end was like, you gotta delete this because this is evidence. Nice. But yeah, the contract leaked, and as a person who is trying to get into esports, I read this as best as I can, but Jesus Christ, man, contracts are just very hard to understand as a normal person, or a somewhat, I have a associate's degree, but even reading this contract, I was just like, what does that exactly mean? So once again, to anyone out there that's going to sign a contract of any kind, you should definitely get a lawyer involved. just so they could like clarify everything, especially if like, this involves you directly. But yeah, this contract, I pretty much highlighted a lot of things here. So it was a 3-year contract. After the first 6-month period, he was going to be signed to FaZe for 3 years. $2K per month, which is, I think, kind of standard these days, and then may increase or decrease after the 6-month initial period, which I think they wanted to increase it, but Tfue was just, not like, working with FaZe at all. So the prize winning split was 80% Tfue, 20% FaZe. In-game merchandise, quote unquote, which is like, FaZe even like clarifies, which I probably should put in this freaking doc, but FaZe actually came out with a video explaining their side of everything, from like Seabass and like the CEO of FaZe, pretty much trying to say that, yeah, we tried to work with Tfue and this and that, but and they even like define what in-game merchandise is, if I could find it in the video. It does not have to do with the support a creator code, because Tfue signed this contract in April of 2018, and then the creator codes came out in October 2018. In-game items refers to anything related to the FaZe logo in the video game, pretty much like Counter-Strike, with like stickers and stuff like that. So like that would be like the 50-50 split. So like people were assuming that the creator code was like getting 52 FaZe. They've actually taken $0 from anything related to the creator code Tfue.
Oh, okay.
So just keep that in mind. And then like personal merchandise and apparel will be negotiated separately. Brand deals on YouTube brought to FaZe by Tfue would be 50-50, and then brand deals brought to Tfue by FaZe is 20-80. So yeah, this kind of like confused me. So brand deals, pretty much it's one way where FaZe brings a brand deal to Tfue. Right. That would be 20-80. So 20 to Tfue, 80 to FaZe, I believe, or something like that. And then if it's a brand deal brought to FaZe by Tfue, it's 50-50. Okay. And obviously, FaZe has like the last word as to whether or not Tfue can actually do this brand deal. And then team merch and apparel is 20-80, 20 to Tfue, 80% to FaZe. And then appearances, sign-up bonuses, similar activities is 50-50, which I thought sign-up bonuses would be like the super creator code, but they once again say that we've taken $0 from that. And then all income goes through FaZe first for collecting and accounting purposes. Right. So that is definitely very sus and weird. I'm not sure if all esports teams do that, but that is definitely very weird. And then all new business opportunities must be brought up to FaZe's attention. And then this is the big one. So in the event of termination for the gamer material breach, gamers shall be prohibited from playing video games publicly, online, or in live tournaments or professionally for a period of 6 months from the effective date of termination. Okay.
So, what is gamer material breach? What does that mean?
I'm pretty sure pretty much if like, he like violates the contract sort of thing. So pretty much what that like last statement I said was, after he leaves FaZe or gets terminated from his contract, he can't play online or in live tournaments for 6 months, which is weird.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
I'm pretty sure that is against the law, and I think people have said this.
Who's gonna enforce the? What, they could just sue him if he does? That's a little messed up. Yeah. What?
But like, what do you think about like the rest of the contract?
Okay, so some of these are like, for the team merch stuff, I think that's fine, because like that's like team stuff, right? Like I don't really see why he should get much from that anyway. But I feel like so you're saying like them using like his like sign up codes and things, they're not taking money from him, right? Apparently.
No, they've claimed that they've taken like zero anything. But like, the thing that Tfue is trying to get out of is this contract. So it's not the fact that they haven't done it. It's because the fact that they can still do it. It's in the contract that he currently has, and obviously, they were trying to renegotiate, do this, do that, whatever. But what's in the contract right now, what is Tfue signed under FaZe, all of this stuff, they could take his money overnight, pretty much. Like a good portion of it too.
Yeah, like.
So that's why Tfue wants to get out of this contract and want to get out of FaZe, pretty much.
So yeah, but he signed this, right? Like he already signed it.
Yeah.
So like
But like,
yeah,
when you're like as young as he is, he's like a year or two younger than us, and you know you're like really sick at this video game, and you're about to get signed to FaZe Clan. You know, like you're kind of just thinking about how famous am I gonna get, how sick am I gonna be at this game after I sign this, sort of thing. How popular will I get? So he was probably thinking about a bunch of other things. He probably didn't like read it thoroughly because he's a young kid. And I will admit, when I was younger and I signed to like MCMs, like Maker Studios and like Full Screen on YouTube, I barely read those contracts. All I knew was that, all right, they're going to be able to help me make money on YouTube. That's pretty much all I knew. And obviously, I regret not reading those contracts, but luckily I got out of those and I'm currently a free man on YouTube. But, I definitely could have got locked into like a serious, like deep contract for a while with them, you know? So obviously, he probably didn't read it or like have a lawyer read it with him or whatever. So, but now he's a little bit older, more wiser, and he's kind of just like, I want to get out of this. But I know that FaZe, I believe that FaZe was trying to work with them as best as they can.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that too. Like, obviously he should have probably had a lawyer with him and like really clarify a bunch of things. But like you said, he probably wasn't thinking about that too much. He was just like, yo, it's FaZe. And I also think that's a little messed up of FaZe to be like, hey, like they should I don't know if they did or not. It would be like, hey, you should probably have a lawyer like read this for you, just so you really understand what's happening here. But I mean, it's hard to say, right? Like, I don't know if FaZe would have like been so like negotiable if he did an outcry about this. Like, I don't really know. It's hard to say, right? Like, because it is like unfair and stuff like that, and like, but it's also like his fault because he already signed it, right? Like he signed the thing, But
it's also, FaZe is kind of like scumminess of just like having these like outrageous splits.
Yeah, it's scummy to do that, and it's scummy to do it for someone young that he probably doesn't even understand most of this stuff yet. Like, it just comes off like either way you look at this, like FaZe is gonna look scummy no matter what. So yeah, like I think he is in his right to like complain about it and stuff like that. But
yeah, and the fact that he's like suing them over this whole thing is like a little crazy, which is why like this story blew up so quickly, because Tfue is probably top 5, maybe even like top 3 like most well-known gamers today among like the general like gaming online community, I would say. And him coming out and being like, I want to get out of this oppressive contract, and he's just suing FaZe over it. It's definitely very, very crazy and, very eye-opening to young people, especially even me, who's like slightly older than him, to like make sure that I'm reading these goddamn contracts if I ever do sign to a team, sort of thing. So, but yeah, it's definitely very interesting because, FaZe Clan is trying to pretty much do damage control during this entire process because they, got blindsided and this and that, but I'm pretty sure like they were trying their best to keep Tfue, because they invested so much into him, and they actually see him as like not just as a business partner but also as a friend. And Banks is probably the forefront of this entire drama when it comes to like FaZe representatives, because he's been so vocal and so outspoken about this. Like despite all of the controversy that he's had in the past with whatever YouTube drama or whatever, I can definitely sort of like sympathize with him that like this was like my homie, my friend, sort of thing that he calls it, and he kind of just got backstabbed in the back. So
yeah, like I kind of just think that too, but it's also like I don't know, like it's kind of dangerous when you have like, this is why I don't really like that, when like it's cool to have like friends at work and things like that, but you still gotta keep them as like colleagues and things like that.
Yeah, keep it like professional.
Like because then they could do stuff like this, like, oh, I thought you were my homie, dude, even though this contract kind of sucks, like But like if you were really his homie, you probably would like told him, hey, this kind of sucks, like if. So yeah, that's why that's pretty dangerous too, and I don't really like it when companies do that. Like it's just like I don't know, it just makes it seem like they want to take more control of you and things like that. So.
It's still kind of hard to pick a side for me personally, just because I know that like FaZe Clan actually tried their best to negotiate with Tfue, but at the same time Tfue is in the right to like call them out on this really absurd and really garbage contract, know. So that's where we are right now. There's definitely a lot to this story and probably more to come. So Tfue's probably not going to be on FaZe anymore, but he's definitely trying to be very careful because this contract is still legally binded to him. So, you know,
Right.
he's definitely very, very quiet about it, which makes sense.
Legal stuff. You can't just be like shouting all this stuff because I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah, which is why he only did a 2-minute video. So.
Alrighty, so now we got more ProJared stuff. So we got even more drama. So basically, ProJared's response, and he tweeted this in like May 17th, I think. Yeah. Basically, he's like shifting blame to Heidi, saying like she was like abusive and things like that. Basically saying that she was like the one to like say, hey, we should have like an open relationship or whatever. So like ProJared just saw this as like him with Holly being nothing wrong because that's what she wanted or whatever. And he also accused her of also having like sort of like a long-term like boyfriend too when they were doing this, like you know, when she said, hey, we should have an open relationship and things like that. So yeah, basically he's saying hey, it's her fault.
Yeah, pretty much he's shifting blame to her. And like when I first read it, I was like, this is like really well written, you know. I wonder what lawyer he got to like write this up. But and then Heidi responded, obviously, like every single time she responds to anything, it's like fire.
Yes.
You know, like straight like heat. Like she doesn't hold back, and I'm pretty sure the internet is still on her side when it comes to all this. And you know, Jared doesn't really have, you know, evidence. He kind of just posted these two you know, blocks of text sort of thing. And yeah, pretty much Heidi says that Holly was the reason why this didn't work, like the whole open relationship thing. And yeah.
Yeah, it was also spicy because apparently Holly was having feelings for Jared when her and Ross were still together, apparently. So
yep.
Yeah, so now we know the reason why they split up was probably because of this. So that's really bad. But then Holly made a really big response. And she actually provides...
Yeah. So Holly actually tried to provide evidence, and she did, but I don't know. You know, like she had like some like Facebook posts in here or whatever, but like I don't know if like these are fake or whatever. I mean, like Heidi didn't address them. I don't think she did. But like, you know, some of like this evidence, quote unquote, is like very sus.
Yeah, like, and it doesn't really like help her side that much because I mean, like Heidi's very angry in her like text and things like that, and even like in some of the other things, where it's also like understandable why. Like I don't know, like I feel like all the stuff she's providing, it doesn't really like, it doesn't make it any less bad, I guess, you know.
But I think that there's like I don't know where I could find it, but like supposedly like in like her like Holly's sort of like entire tweet thread, she said that like Heidi called on Jared's phone, and then afterwards she like texted Jared, and I'm just like, but if he was, or if she was using his phone, why would you text his phone?
Right, yeah.
But like, you know, she could also be referring to like maybe Skype or Discord, but like you don't say text when you're referring to those things, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like she's trying to like cover her ass as much as possible with like all of these like random receipts and pictures and things like that. But once again, you know, Heidi comes in swinging.
Yeah.
So she also has receipts and evidence about all of this through pictures, text conversations. I have two really good tweets here. Let's open the first one. Yes, at first she was very supportive on this whole thing, and then she discovered that you know, Jared just couldn't be transparent with her and honest with her. So yeah. And then she just lit a whole thing on fire. Imagine sleeping with a married man and believing he's telling you the truth about everything. No, baby, I only lied to my wife, I swear.
Oh my god.
So I mean, like, you know, Jared and Holly definitely both came out with their own responses and tried to, you know, cover their asses as much as possible, but it only lit the flames even more, I feel.
Yeah, like I feel like no matter what they say, like Holly's still like not even confirmed that she was like doing this before Ross and her like had a divorce, so it makes it even more worse. And Jared didn't even provide like any proof or anything like that. He just like put like 2 blocks of text and that's it. So yeah. I don't really know what he was trying to do there, but I mean, and again, none of this excuse, even Holly said this doesn't excuse him giving photos to his fans, like nudes.
Oh yeah.
And I know
that's still like the big
That's still
no-no.
like that still makes him bad. Like nothing you do is gonna make him look good at all. Like even this whole cheating nonsense and he said she said, it's still like it doesn't matter. ProJared's still like super in the wrong here, and like like he deserves everything that's like happening to him really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, like she tries to cover, or Holly tries to confirm that like Jared, got ages
yeah.
and all of this other stuff, and legal ramifications of like if a consenting adult swap nudes and you then post it online, that is what's it called, revenge porn or whatever. But I'm like, I mean, whose side is she on exactly?
Yeah, it's because she was like calling Jared out, but then she didn't want those people to like provide proof that he was sending nudes to these people. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's already out on the internet, so it's kind of over for Jared.
Yeah, like he's still done though, like
Yeah, I mean, the whole like Holly response with like these text conversations is definitely very pretty and very nice.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, oh, she actually has like evidence and proof, and then Heidi kind of was just like, yeah, I also have evidence and proof, bitch. Like, oh my god, Heidi probably has so much like tea that she hasn't like released yet. She's actually just like waiting for like the right time to just release it.
Yeah.
And obviously like these like Facebook posts that like she posted out, like obviously make Heidi look really bad, but like how did these not leak out before Holly did?
Yeah.
Because like I'm looking at one of these, it has like 249 reactions, 187 comments. How is this not out? Like, how did this not leak before Holly leaked it or whatever?
Yeah.
It's definitely like very weird, and I'm pretty sure that these are just fake, screenshots, if I had to guess. But I didn't like dive too deep into that sort of realm, so these could be real, and maybe Heidi did respond to these, but I just didn't check. But yeah, the internet is still definitely very much on Heidi's side, just because the whole nudes thing and ProJared, but yeah, that man is still donezo. He still can't do anything on the internet.
Yeah, like, I'm surprised they even responded like right now. Like,
yeah,
like I don't know. It just like it's still like ProJared's still in the wrong. Like, there's nothing you could do. Like that's why all this he says she says stuff doesn't matter, because at the end of the day he's still a piece of trash. So
yeah,
like, no matter how you look at it. So.
And then, going back to Holly's response one more time, it's just some things just aren't consistent and some things just don't feel right with me when just reading this whole thing, Yeah,
like, again, sometimes she's just like, hey, like, I don't support him on this, but I do. And then, like, a bunch of other stuff. And also, like, she was doing this when she was married, too. It's just, like, I don't know. It just doesn't make her look good, like, at all. And, like, I don't really take what she says as, like, I'm not gonna
fully fact. Like there's like obviously like every side of drama, there's one story, there's the other story, and then there's the truth, and the truth is somewhere in here. It's just that it seems like Heidi's telling more of the truth than the rest of the parties involved.
Right.
That's how I feel like it is. Obviously Heidi could just be manipulating the internet and just playing us all, but I feel like she's telling the truth because she actually has like some pretty solid evidence here, and obviously with like some good like context and some backup statements and this and that. So
yeah, like I'm probably more inclined to believe Heidi than like these two, because again they're both shown like I have no reason to trust them. So yeah. So especially
like Holly already expressed feelings to Jared when she was married.
Yeah, so that gives me like no reason to really like feel bad for her. So yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much everything we got on the show. So is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay, so thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast. If you guys like the show, be sure to give us 5 stars on iTunes. I would really appreciate it. I think Damian would also appreciate it as well.
Yes, I would.
But we will see you guys 2 weeks from now with hopefully a little bit less drama.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, see ya.